This is the point in Season 1 where everything just seems to be going bad for all the heroes. Thalius is dead, Sandaria destroyed, and immediately after all that, the Necromancers destroy Nika's tree fort. I think it's important for the protagonists to lose. There needs to be higher stakes. There needs to be that desire to see them succeed after so much defeat. Only then can you really get those dramatic moments which would have been dull otherwise. Hey everyone, David here, director of Songs of War, and welcome to another behind the scenes video. Episode 7 opens with the Zarya. I wrote with the Zarya, discovering Lucan's identity, and then the fight breaks out. This was one of the very first fight sequences Zillion worked on when we brought on animators. I only laid out a tiny section for the fight, but when Zillion showed me the draft, I thought it was super cool watching Nika go up against Zarya in front of the burning backdrop. In hindsight, I wish I had extended this fight a lot more, but I didn't really worry too much because some of the best fights were still yet to come. I gotta mention the weird little green optical illusion and how much time I spent trying to solve a non-existent problem. It looks like he's wearing a green little bow tie or something, and I couldn't tell what was causing it. So then I did a color comparison, and I realized it wasn't actually green at all. It was just this weird color illusion. Having Lucan's robe pulled back was actually surprisingly difficult. I considered many different ways to make it happen, and each seemed to come with their own problems, such as having, cloth simulation or something. Eventually the solution was actually quite simple, although a bit tedious, which was to make 11 different versions of that hooded skin, so it would transition into a pulled back state. If I changed between one skin per frame, you wouldn't really notice it being stop motion, and it would just seem smooth. There's a nice scene here where we start to see Lucan and Nika's relationship evolve. Although neither of them wanted to work together at the start, now they've kind of become comfortable working together and don't really want to go back to working alone. And welcome to Hog Town. Hog Town's a city that exists just outside the borders of Concord. We imagined that it's one of those towns that it wants to be in the kingdom for protection and other advantages, but Concord, it doesn't really want Hog Town because it's a little more poor, run down, so there's kind of a lot of resentment from the people living there. Building it was surprisingly difficult, because how do you make a place look nice when it's supposed to look like a dump? So we're down in the common world, down and dirty with people outside kingdoms. They're fearful of outsiders and don't really like or trust the other species. It's not necessarily that they're speciest or racist or anything, but they have genuine reasons to be concerned about when some of these more dangerous species show up. Since Ardoni can use songs, it'd be like if someone was walking around with a bunch of dynamite in a shopping mall or something that could just blow up, and you wouldn't even know they had it. You don't know the Ardoni has a song or not. Or a Magnerite would be like if someone parked out in front of your house in like a armored SWAT van or something. This was the episode where we decided to make a lot of pig loops to really portray the pig industry that's here. There are pigs in pens, pigs roaming around. We even had a little piggy boy randomly walk up to Sen, try to get his attention during the conversation. He kind of nudges him a bit to get pat or something. And at one point we see when Sen raises his arm up, the pig kind of follows his hand to see if he's holding food or something. This was something that Judo, who animated the scene, had a lot of fun with. I even made these mud puddles that were going to go in the ground to make the place feel even more nasty. After spending a while making a really nice material for them, I realized they just didn't look as good once you brought the rest of the environment in. Also, when the feet stepped in the puddles, it didn't actually create a ripple, so it kind of broke the illusion. Luckily, I ended up using this exact same effect later in the series, well, for episode 1, during the Walls of Time, and then adjusting it slightly to make it look a little more like frozen water puddles, and since it was ice, it didn't need to actually ripple when they stepped on it. And finally, we meet Igneous. He's a Magnerite, which we thought we already knew a bit about, but we see that Igneous is nothing like the Magnerites everyone's worried about. I think this helps him stand out a lot more, but it also makes us start questioning other species and factions that we might have been generalizing. The voice actor Jackson Trent used to voice the villain Firelight in my old Halo Machinima series.
What evidence do you have, Takan? Your word isn't as valuable as of late.
So we thought we'd give him a villain role in Songs of War. We let him try some of the Voltaris in episode 6, like Lucidius and Zenaida, but it just wasn't working out and it didn't feel right. After that, after we went through that, attempting to get those two characters, most of the characters for the season had already been filled, and there's only a few left, and none were really villains. So we were like, well, you can just try whoever's left, give Igneous a try if you want or something.
Oh, hello there. I hope you don't mind if I read here. Oh, hi. Hello there. I hope you don't mind if I read here.
Oh, hello there. I hope you don't mind if I read here.
Oh, hello there. I hope you don't mind if I read here.
Turns out, the Igneous audition was just perfect. It fits so well, and which is great because then Igneous ends up having much more of a leading role than those two little Voltaris guys did. Endermen are woke. Endermen are woke. That's what it says in my script. I don't think I really previewed this script before I read it. I realized at this point that I couldn't just keep doing a random assortment of ender particles every time an Ender Knight teleported. For example, in episode 4, during the dream, I just did some random particle burst initially. I needed something much more efficient and easier to set up when they teleport a lot, so I ended up creating this little array of 2D planes, which gives the illusion of this kind of spherical energy blob that appears during the teleports. It looked really good, and it worked wonders from an animation standpoint, but something felt missing.
What do you mean missing?
Which is when we gave the Enderman himself this kind of bright texture for a frame or two, just at the teleport point, to make the flash seem even more intense. Even after all this, though, his initial reveal seemed to be too abrupt. We wanted his arrival to be a bit drawn out and let Jalkar kind of detect it first. So the lore we came up with was that when the Endermen would teleport between dimensions, such as from the end to the overworld, they had to do this kind of longer charge-up teleport. But when they just do, a quick and short movement, it does the basic flash. I did go back and actually, in the episode 4, for the dream sequence, go back and use this effect there, so you can see it looks better now. So then another fight breaks out here. It's difficult to animate Endermen fighting when they don't really have any weapons, but Zillion managed it somehow. He gets his arm chopped off, and okay, yeah, I definitely didn't finish editing this script. Oh well. And if you're looking carefully, you can see that he is one of the Endermen in that final shot. After the fight, it might seem like the action is over, but we do get one final fight. Jalkar leaves Grim that moment. That was my bad. Jalkar leaves Grim the moment he starts to feel that Grim's usefulness has expired, which really proves just how little he cared for Grim. Normally in this fight, Grim would have easily been able to take Abigail, but since he was injured from the previous fight with the Enderman, injured from the arrow, injured from the fall, it made sense that he didn't win this one. Also, Abigail had the help of Sam, and on top of all of that, Abigail didn't really beat Grim, but instead Grim kind of made a mistake in not knowing that his electric scythe was going to have problems by, getting electrocuted in the water. And finally, at the end, we see the Endermen are still cautiously following the egg, but are backing off a bit now that they're starting to realize Abigail is after the egg to protect it. Thanks everyone for watching. If you want to support the series and help make Season 2 possible, there are a few ways you can do that. Firstly, we have a lot of awesome Songs of War merchandise available on our store, link in the description. We've got the logo, Grim pillows, Thales' own brand peas, and a whole lot more. Also, we're running a special Patreon promotion this month. Anyone who is pledged to our Patreon at any level during the month of March will have their name featured in Songs of War episode 10 full credits. Well, assuming you're pledged before that episode comes out. So thanks for watching. See you next video.